All right, folks, so for this particular one, um, what we're going to do is try to use a variable to try to do something like a basketball drill. So what we're looking for is um, this little guy. The robot, I want it to go up a square, then back, then up 2 squares and back, then up 3 squares and back, and up 4 squares and back, and up 5 squares and back, and so on until it gets to the end. Okay, so we're going to do that now. So let's get started. Um, We're going to need a variable for that. And there's already one here. If you click variables here, there's already one. It's called my variable. And we could use that one. That's totally fine. You can actually make one and just make your own up and call it like a counter, but because that's what it's doing for us. It's going to be counting for us like how many times it's gone. So we're going to do that for now. Okay. First thing we need to do is I do need it to drive forward, right? And I do need it to drive forward 200. Okay, that's 1 square. But this would take a long time. We'd have to go forward 200, go backwards 200, go forward 400, and keep changing over and over and over again, right? This is going to take a while. But there's a way to do this and kind of like build an algorithm more or less. So we're going to go to variables, and we're going to use counter. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the counter to 200. Let me move this off to the side for now. We're going to set the counter to 200. Okay? Then, now that the counter is set to 200, that's the value, we're going to say, and you see here is counter right here, this guy right here, this was our variable called counter. I'm going to drop it where the 200 is. So if I set the counter to 200, then drive forward for counter, which is 200, then that's what I want, right? Then I want it to drive, and watch this, I'm changing this forward to reverse, and then I'm going to go back to my variable and drop it in there. So what is counter? It's 200, right? So it's going to say set counter to 200, good. Drive forward for that amount, drive backwards for that amount. By the way, we can actually pause in between if you want as well. I think in real life we would probably put like a half a second in between because it might still be rolling forward a little bit after it turns its motors off, but I think it should be fine in this software. But so we might have to put, in real life we would put like a little delay here, and there's stuff right here. I think it's right here, controls. There's one for it somewhere. I think there's one that says wait a certain amount of time. There's a lot. There it is right here. Wait until, here it is, wait 1 second. That's the one we would put. So normally in real life we would definitely put that here, and you don't have to right now. I think it will be fine without it. But if there is a glitch or something, we'll definitely put that there. So it's going to go forward for 200 millimeters, then go backwards for 200, reverse and 200 millimeters. Perfect. But now I need it to do it again, but for 400, right? So we're going to go back to our variables and say change counter by 200. So change it by 200, positive 200 of course, because I think you could do negative 200 if you wanted to, like if you wanted to take aways like that, you can do negative 200. But we're going to change it just by a positive 200. So it was 200, it should be 400 now. And I'm going to take these two and do it again. So, actually, you know what? We could probably do this. Yeah, we can do this perfectly. This will be working fine. I'm going to show a different method tomorrow when we go over something called loops. So then we're going to go to drive forward and again, but we're going to change this one to reverse. And let's go back to our variables and add counter and counter. Now hopefully this works, and it should go up 200. I should have tested this first, and let's see if it works. So it should go up 1 square and back, up a square, back a square, up 2 squares, and back down. Perfect, it worked. Okay, so then of course we're going to change counter, our variable, because there's more than one variable, so change counter by 200 again, and then we're going to go to drivetrain, drive forward, and then I'm going to say drive again, but I'm going to change that forward to reverse. And of course these 200s, I need to change those to the variable amount, so go back to my variable and drag this little counter into where it says how far to go. So it starts, we set it to 200 and it moves 200 forward, backwards 200. Then it changes it by 200, so it makes it 400, and it drives forward by 400, reverse by 400. Then it changes it by 200 again. Now it's 600, so that's 3 squares up. And it drives forward for 600, then reverse for 600. So let's see if this is working good. 2 squares. We're doing our basketball drills. This robot's getting a good workout. Perfect. All right, so figure out how to get this working until it goes only to the very furthest point. So if you look, so it's going to go, so your robot should do this. It should go forward 1, forward 2, backwards 2, forward 3, and then back, and then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, and then 9, or whatever. I think it's 8. So it should do all of them and then come back, and that's it. Okay, that's what your robot should do. Okay, and this is learning how to use variables. It counts for you. You can set them to certain values anytime you want. You can set them to a certain value, or you can change them by a certain value. So here I set it to 200 at the beginning and just change it by 200 every single time I need it to, and that's it. Tomorrow I'll show you how to make this code even shorter, and we'll work on creating something called loop tomorrow.